guys, so this is my camping setup. This will never be my main setup ever again. Hopefully. This is just my main setup. So I hope this video is good enough quality. Okay, a Bosnian Serbian nationalist shoots a guy in the head. I think. Okay, basically, one guy was planned to be assassinated. The bombs missed and hit the core behind his core, and then he went to visit them. But then his driver made a wrong turn, and then they got shot. Well, the Archduke Franz Ferdinand got shot. Now we need to know what's going on. For this, Germany was actually making a pretty decent navy for themselves. Yeah, pretty decent navy for themselves. Then, before that, they've taken Alsace, the Alsace region from France. Alsace. I'm going to use those two names quite a bit in a lot more of my videos. So this is just going to cover 1914. Like, if you want more war coverage on World War I and stuff, I would highly recommend Oversimplified. They are a great YouTuber. Shout out to Historical Travels also. No, not Historical Travels. Shout out to Historic Travels also. I love him, if you can't tell by my name. So hopefully I could do this thing pretty well. Hopefully. Maybe. Okay, yeah. 2 bullets killed a guy. Not fun. Then now, because of this, they send a huge ultimatum to Serbia. Obviously, that's probably what I would do. Being realistic. And Bulgaria and a ton of other countries just got their independence. But Bulgaria will be very important later on because they did very well in this war for some reason. Like, they did almost too well for how small they were. Okay, so. Independence. Yeah. Independence, years earlier. And it's all that stuff. So, what happens is that because Serbia doesn't accept the ultimatum, Austria declares war on Serbia. And then Serbia gets their friend Russia to help. Russia declares war on Austria-Hungary. And then Germany, who's friends with Austria-Hungary, declares war on Russia and Serbia. And then France and Britain, who made a new group of powers called the Entente Powers, declared war on Germany and Austria-Hungary. And then Italy joined as the Axis originally. So they declared war on France and Britain, but later on they would betray the Axis very early on in this war. If you can't tell by 1915 and the Isanzo and stuff. This is gonna be awful. But okay, so now Germany wants to invade France really quickly, and then invade Russia really quickly because Russia's just so big that it can't get prepared in time. Yeah, you're wrong, but you're just wrong. Okay, so this war begins badly. Obviously, it's war. So they launch the invasion of Belgium, but no, Germany sees their border to France, and they say, this isn't very good. So, what do? They obviously do what is correct. No, it's correct. Well, to win a war, you would invade the small nation, Belgium. A lot of Americans are sympathetic because still even today, a lot of Americans are from German descent. Heck, we even have our own form of Oktoberfest here in Indiana. Oh yeah, this is just the weather outside. If you were wondering, whatever now, there you need it. So now what do we do? It's war. War's not fun. So of course they do the only thing they can do. Invade Belgium. But then they start committing a bunch of heinous war crimes that are awful. To this day, I would argue. And we're probably not gonna go into modern history a whole lot on this channel unless I get a lot of requests. So, yeah. No later than probably Velvet divorce times, I would say. We might do a couple of videos on Russia and Ukraine, but that's a whole other can of worms. They get through Belgium and start invading France. Britain already had some troops being sent to France, but then Britain says, you know what, we need more troops there because we'd be absolutely screwed if they keep on invading. Then, in August, oh shoot, Russia's already prepared. What are we gonna do? Tannenberg. The death of I believe, the second Russian army's commander died in that battle. So, yeah, protect the Tsar. That's probably what they're saying. For the Tsar and Russia stuff. But Russia was doing too well. Yeah, Germany won. I think good actually. They won. They definitely won quite well. Then Moraine. Then the Battle of the Frontiers happened. Really bad stuff happened. Obviously, it's war. Then Battle of the Moraine happens. France and Britain win. Absolutely surprising. Maybe a few people. The reason why the Moraine happened is because let's say this is Germany's lines right now, so right next to each other. They diverged a little bit, like this, kind of. They diverged a little bit, like this, kind of. Instead of being all tightly packed together, they went like this, kind of. So they pushed through this big gap here in the center. And the reason why it's called the Battle of the Moraine is because of the Moraine River. This actually would halt Germany's advance to Paris and would probably stop them from winning World War I, if I'm being honest. So now what are we going to do? Well, now it's trench warfare time. Let's dig a long, narrow line in either this kind of shape, like a zigzag the whole time, or a long, narrow line. Cavalry was still being used. There was a small cavalry engagement that I forgot the name of, but So now with trench warfare, it's much more slow and static. Many more people would die from mud and infection than what was expected because of France and Britain's error to make the trenches for prolonged periods of time. They thought the war was going to end by Christmas, So now, after all this summer stuff, fall happens. Germany gains some more territory, but it's really, really static. Like, barely any territory. The Christmas truce of 1914 happens. One of the only full days of peace. Probably the only full day of peace in the whole war. Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. Only 2 days. People gave whiskey, cigars, letters, wallets to each other. They played soccer. The Germans would laugh whenever a Highlander's kilts would go into the air. It was a very solemn moment of the war. Now, for this whole time, it was really easy for Germans to kill French soldiers. You wanna know why? They wore bright blue uniforms with red piping where about here, about in this area, your legs. This is where some lead would be. And this would be such as a pad when it would just be blue, but it was like really bright blue in that time of the war. So, yeah. Stay tuned for 1915.